Okay, chapter 14, the Bolvanger Lights. Lyra finally arrives at Bolvanger, the headquarters of the General Oblation Board, and she gets there in a very interesting way. Their party gets attacked by a group of Samoyed hunters. So basically, people native to this area to the north, and they're clearly working with an agenda because they come across this party and they immediately start shooting arrows into the group. We see a big theme in this chapter is truth, lies, and morality, and religion, politics, and control. They do a very interesting interplay with one another. But right from the beginning, we see that as these arrows are firing into the crowd, Pan becomes a leopard and he protects Lyra. And that shows us a little glimpse into humanity, identity, and the soul, because Pan and Lyra are at least there to comfort each other. The novel here suggests very strongly that this is one of the great perks of having a soul. The person, you as a person, you're never alone. And this is what made Tony Makarios' situation so sad, because when Rata was cut away from him, he was literally on his own. He didn't have anyone or anything else to fall back on. So the novel suggests to us basically that the physical manifestation of a demon is basically our little inner voice, our conscious and our conscience and our soul. And it's represented by demons in this book, but this is basically the suggestion that without that little inner soul, we wouldn't be able to live. That is what we need to stay alive. So she gets captured and she gets taken by these Samoyed people, and she immediately realizes when she's taken to the facility, these men basically get paid for bringing her in, which goes to show that there is the people of that area have an arrangement here with the General Oblation Board, with the gobblers. They clearly have had for quite some time. But yes, Lyra gets into the situation immediately where she is presented with the fact that they don't actually know who she is. So it's not like Mrs. Coulter sent for her to be captured by these people. And immediately from the get-go, she knows that she has to lie. So that is a very interesting instinct that Lyra has, that she's becoming a lot more self-aware in the situation that she's moving in, and she's thinking on her feet and she's being really quick about it. She knows that she wouldn't be of any interest to the gobblers if Pan was already in a settled form. And what might they do to her then? They might just kill her. So she makes it very clear from the beginning that he hasn't settled. And Pan shows this, which links in with our theme of humanity, identity, and the soul. He shows that he hasn't settled yet by turning into another animal in front of the doctor or the man that meets them. He's obviously, or the theme of religion, politics, and control obviously come into play here because of the fact that there is this interesting arrangement between the local people and between the doctors in the area, or the gobblers that are based here at Bolvanger. So Lyra basically goes into this facility knowing that she has adopted this new persona. Once she's in the facility, she gets taken in by a woman called Sister Clara, and there is something off about Sister Clara's demon to Lyra, and she just gets a strange clinical feeling from the little white trotting dog who is complacent. He doesn't have any curiosity, neither does she. She does everything mechanically. She does everything sort of just in a very specific, rote, normal way. Nothing interesting, no imagination, nothing out there about her. So from the minute, because of that clinical feeling that Lyra picks up on, we as the reader might think, oh, okay, maybe they have undergone intercision as well already, to sort of make them as soulless as they are. We know about the intercision and about everything that's happening at Bolvanger. So when Lyra is given an option to choose a toy or a doll or a soft toy or a little toy to take with her, that might be their sort of way of weaning the children off of their demons before they undergo this intercision procedure. So here again, we have the theme of humanity, identity, and the soul, and the way that they're trying to transfer the children's interest or love or affection or whatever onto something else. Although we know as well from Lara's conversations with Yorick that it's futile. It's almost pointless to try and replace a true soul with something that is just a copy. Just like he said, he can't make his iron or his armor out of any other iron except for sky iron. It's not the same. From there, we see that Lyra starts talking to the main doctor who took her in originally. And here he basically manipulates her. He mentally manipulates her. He keeps telling her that what happened to her, she's misremembering. It wasn't the truth. He keeps saying, no, she only got lost. She wandered away from her parents or from her dad's group, and the hunters found her and they brought her back and they made her safe. This really shows us the theme of religion, politics, and control. This is the way in which they control these children. They also take advantage of the fact that they are still children, and children are such a vulnerable group, and they are very impressionable and easy to manipulate. And obviously that links in with truth, lies, and morality, because these are the tactics that the people at this facility use to gain the trust of the children and to take the children in and to make them feel safe. And it reminds us that children in general are vulnerable, and the ones at Bolvanger are the most vulnerable are vulnerable and easy to exploit, which is basically what they are doing. We move on then to where Lyra interacts with the girls that wake her up, and they want to get information from her. They want to know what's going on, are more children coming, and so on. And they tell her a little bit about what happens over there. And so again, childhood, innocence, and maturity, the way in which these girls are talking, the way in which they have experienced Bolvanger up until this point, really just emphasizes the fact that they're so vulnerable and they're so easy to exploit and take advantage of. They sort of have more or less the correct idea of what happens, and they do know that they are being controlled and something is being done to them, but they can't quite put their finger on it because it's easy for the adults to keep information from them, and again, in that way they control them. They don't want the children necessarily to be scared or to fight back against what's happening to them, even though it is immoral, and that links in with our main theme of this chapter. And then they also just bring back the reappearance basically of Mrs. Coulter, and this is a reminder that everything that is happening at this facility has the influence of the magisterium behind it, because Mrs. Coulter at the end of the day is working in conjunction with the magisterium. So this is the way that the political system controls its people, and the experiments that are being done is everything. All of it has to do with control. No matter how far away a place might be, they still have this iron grip of control.